Hey guys, pretty exciting to be here for me. This will be the first video I've ever uploaded to YouTube, or I've ever recorded for the purpose of uploading to YouTube. And so what we got going on here, this is actually the start of what I'm calling a generational Nuzlocke. Um, I haven't really seen this happen before. The idea is, for generation one, we're going to do a normal standard Nuzlocke, so all the normal rules, but going from, for instance, we're starting with red, going to blue, then going to yellow. You can't have any repeats. And so what that means, the cost of losing a Pokemon is much more expensive now, because if I lose a bunch in the first run, those are a bunch of locked Pokemon for later runs. So anyway, this is just something I've always kind of wanted to do. And it actually serves a dual purpose for me, because on top of this, the original purpose for recording these is for a history lecture that I'm going to be doing. I take the video footage and then I'm going to talk over it, and instead of hearing what I'm saying right now, you'll get history lessons. I'm a U.S. history teacher for a high school, and so working with students, I've noticed a tendency, they like their kind of background videos. And I figure if I could provide something like that, while at the same time providing course information, could be beneficial. So anyway, if you're interested in watching the Nuzlocke, but you want to learn some history with it, maybe switch over to that and check it out. And I want you guys to know I'm not a big YouTuber or anything like that. I enjoy watching stuff, but I've never considered making anything before. And so quality, stuff like that, don't expect anything super amazing. I'll learn as I go type deal. But this is just meant for me, it's fun for me, an excuse for me to play some video games. I get to tell my wife, leave me alone, I'm working. So that's always nice. So anyway, going over some of the basic rules. The Nuzlocke obviously doesn't start until I get my first set of Pokeballs. Choosing Bulbasaur here, I'm probably going to lose. You get into a war of attrition if I start using Growl, stuff like that. So we're just going to tackle our way through this fight, hope for the best. And you can see my attacks have already been dropped by like half. Anyway, normal Nuzlocke rules. Pokemon faints, it dies. I'm going to try to remember to name all of my critters so that I start building an emotional attachment to them. You can only catch the first Pokemon in each route. Other rules. I don't know, standard stuff. Oh, again, so talking about encounters in terms of how it's going to work generationally. Let's say, hypothetically, I catch a Pidgey in the first route, right? That Pokemon is not technically Nuzlocked to this run until I add it to my team. And how I'm defining that, a Pokemon is officially added to your team if you use rare candies on it, or if I use it in a battle, or if I teach it a TM or HM, right? The reason I decided to define it like that, you still want to be able to catch the Pokemon in each run through, not necessarily meaning that I'm going to use it in the run. And so you keep your options open, stuff like that. I've also decided self-enforced rules, no items. The battle mode is put to set, meaning that when I knock a Pokemon out, I do not get the option of quick switching. I'll have to waste a turn in order to do that. It makes it a little bit more competitive, stuff like that. No items, period. The only exception to that rule, I will be using rare candies. but I've level locked. So for instance, and that's what I have kind of on the right there where it says level caps. For the first gym, I'm level capped at 14, second gym 21, so on and so forth. When we get to the Elite Four, which is at 62, that is Lance's strongest Pokemon. So I'll be a little under-leveled for the final rival battle, but that should be fine. We will be using the Rare Candy and Infinite Money cheat, but again, I'm not allowed to purchase any items with a couple exceptions. Those exceptions are to buy Pokeballs or balls of some sort, the rare candies, of course, and then I will allow the purchasing of one Pokemon per run at the game corner. The main reason there, my idea behind doing a generational Nuzlocke is that it forces me to use Pokemon that maybe I wouldn't normally use, including Porygon, which in my practice run, I realized I've never used Porygon before, ever. I've also never used Farfetch before. Hopefully I can get Farfetch to do a little bit more work for me than happened in my practice, because Farfetch is bad. Other rules, I've limited myself 10 Pokeballs per Pokemart, so like whatever the best ball that is available there, I can only get 10 of them. I've also enacted the species clause, meaning, did I get my Pokeballs here? Sometimes there's a glitch and you don't get them yet. I didn't. Okay. I hate this glitch. It's always so problematic. I don't feel like going and fighting my rival. It's too risky. Oh, species clause. So let's say hypothetically I catch a Pidgey in Route 1, then I go to Route 2, and my first encounter is a Pidgey. I can choose not to catch it and reroll my encounter. I've decided to limit that to 10 encounters per, or 10 rerolls per route. And the reason for that, I'm again doing my practice round. When I got to the route before the grass gym, I can't remember what the route number is there, before Erica, the only encounter available was a Growlithe. And I sat there for literally ever, re-rolling encounters, and finally got the Growlithe, only for it to roar, and I didn't catch it anyway. And so just for the sake of simplicity, not beating my head against the wall, I'm just limiting it to 10 re-rolls per route. If it doesn't happen in that time, then so be it. Alright, now we gotta... Sorry, copy list, King Shark. Okay, and then go like this, and we have another one. Money. Okay. So anyway, as you can probably tell at this point, not a Nuzlocker, not a professional gamer. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not very good at the game, if I'm being honest. My Pokemon knowledge gets really finite after Gen 3. And so my intention, because again I'm making these videos with the sole purpose of having background footage for my lecture videos. Candy. Okay. I very well might go through and play the various games. There's a bunch of them that I have never played. You start getting into like Gen 5, which I believe is like Black and White and stuff like that. Never played. Never watched the shows. Don't really know a lot of the Pokemon. My understanding is basically they, I think that was the generation where there were no old Pokemon. Like they basically revamped the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to some of them for that purpose. My favorite Pokemon game, probably Fire Red, Leaf Green. Um, but I used to play these religiously as a kid. I love Pokemon. Um, so yeah, anyway, not really sure what all I'm going to talk about as we go through here. It's going to be kind of random rants, stuff like that. Um, let's see, Rattata, let's call it, oh no. Oop, there we go. Scurvy. Why not? Always remind me kind of a pirate. Anyway, we're going to talk about random stuff. But I do need to add my first team member because I've used him in combat. So Bulbasaur is locked, but Rattata is not. Um, not sure if I'm going to use him. Kind of depends on what else I get. But we are going to increase Hermit a little bit. Anyway, first rant. Let's talk about Pokemon. Why not? We're playing the game. My first interaction with Pokemon is actually buying Red. When I was a kid, my grandma took me to the store. She spoiled the crap out of me growing up. I had never watched Pokemon prior to playing the game, and I immediately fell in love. And so, like, I know, we talked about earlier how I don't have master knowledge and stuff like that. I do play a lot. When I have free time, I almost always fall back into playing some sort of Pokemon game. Nidoking's one of my favorites. So anyway, my first rant, why the heck did Bulbasaur not get a game? And I know that there's a Japanese version of Green, stuff like that, but they never did the American version. So anyway, the first big question that any Pokemon trainer has to answer, who's your starter going to be? And so I remember very distinctly going to the store, and mind you, I was in like pre-K when the first game came out, so you do the math as far as how old I am. But yeah, I was in like pre-K, and I remember going to the store, and you're given the choice between red and blue. Right? One has a giant turtle on it. Granted, he has cannons on his back. Blastoise is pretty cool. But the other option was a dragon. Alright, so of course, my first game, I went with red. Super excited about playing it. Got home, realized there's 3 starters. And so I'm looking at them. You have Charmander, who clearly belongs to Charizard. You have Squirtle, who clearly turns into Blastoise. And then you have Bulbasaur, which has to be the derpiest of the 3. Which is why I fell in love with him. Bulbasaur has always been my go-to starter. I never felt that it was right. It's not fair. I've found out since Bulbasaur is probably the best starter, at least for Gen 1. He gets you through the first several gyms without a problem. He either has type advantage or he's, neutral. And I don't think he gets enough love. And like when I watch, various, people making fan items, he never gets enough love. Let's see. It turns into a Beedrill. We call him a demon because anyone who has ever had to deal with wasps know they're awful. That is proof that the powers that be do not like us. Wasps serve no purpose in life except to be a pest or a demon. So, anyway, I do think, actually, I might go and screw it. Why not? It's just a bug Pokemon. If it dies, it dies. But this will give us a nice little jump. as far as trainer battles that we have to do, because it'll be fully evolved. So anyway, yeah, Bulbasaur was my first starter. I love Bulbasaur. I actually tend to be, I tend to lean towards grass starters in general. When I look at them, they tend to be my favorite. Gen 2, go with Chikorita. Sometimes Totodile. Totodile's pretty cool. I always felt Cyndaquil was kind of blah. Although I did play Legends of Arceus. My older son has a Switch. And so, of course, being the good dad that I am, I got him invested into Pokemon. We collect cards and he plays the games and stuff. And yeah, we love Arceus. And I like the Hisuian. I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I like that version. The kind of, I think it's a fire ghost type. Pretty cool artwork. Yeah, I enjoy it. So anyway, let's see if we can get through here without having to battle any gyms. Alright, so anyway, you would have noticed, so for instance, when I caught Weedle there, I re-rolled my encounter because I ran into Pidgey like 2 or 3 times, right? So that's what I mean by a re-roll. So I already have my Weedle, and so this is 2. I'll have 8 more chances to run into something. Although I don't think there's anything in here worth catching. I mean, I guess a Metapod. Take what I can get, maybe make it cannon fodder at some point. But, yeah, the only thing in here that's left is the Metapod, or the Caterpie line, and Pikachu. But even if I caught a Pikachu, I couldn't use it because by default that's locked in yellow. I have to have a starter. Just so I remember. I do like Butterfree. I think he's a good early Mon if you need, you know, like if I didn't go with Weedle, I would have gone with Butterfree, and I plan to do that in my second run through, hopefully if I can catch it. That's kind of the mystery of this whole thing. The encounters are going to be different every time I play, and so it's kind of potentially dangerous to assume I'm going to get the same stuff. And so we have to kind of adapt on the fly, and I just realized I need to add Weedle here. Anyway, keeping track of my stuff, sorry. Oh, other things just to kind of know. Oh, I thought I had other moves. This sucks. Please don't die the first time I battle with you. That would be unfortunate, huh? Anyway, I am doing 30-minute episodes. Again, that's because of the purpose behind the videos. And so I know, just having watched other people, there's this general fear of people doing like hard resets because they don't like something that happened. I won't do that just as a principle. Also, I don't really care, if I'm being honest. If a Pokemon dies, a Pokemon dies. I mean, it's unfortunate, but we'll keep going. If the whole Nuzlocke ends up getting killed because I make a dumb decision, that's my problem. But I also think for entertainment value, if there are people watching this, because you never know, I've never done this before, they'll get a kick out of it. I think personally we learn more from failure than we do success. And if you're watching this to learn how to be a Nuzlocker, you need to go somewhere else, right? So, yeah, that's just kind of my stance on that. So just be aware. Also, I think with 30-minute episodes, the biggest thing that seems to happen that kills a Nuzlocke, we get tired, stop paying attention, we make silly mistakes. 30-minute episodes, that won't happen. Also, just in general, getting to know me a little bit. I have two kids. One of them is a year old, and so I'll be recording these in 30-minute increments because I can only record when the little monster is asleep. I love my kids, don't get me wrong, but anyone who has a baby, you'll know they are time consuming, and he'll want to be in the video if I'm recording. Not that I'm opposed to, it's just that he doesn't sit still. Alright, I've lost count of how many. I'm going to say this is 5. Hope I get something. I don't know what I can get here at this point. 6, maybe the female Nidoran? 6. Everybody's afraid of me. Nobody wants to fight. 7. Bleh. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know if I can catch anything here. I've done pretty well so far. 8. So, if you have made it this far into the video, first off, I want to thank you. Second, who's your starter? So we'll go with, what was your first Pokemon game? And what starter did you go with? And then if you want to give me a why, I love why statements. That's the teacher in me. What drew you to that particular starter? Alright. Oh, we have a fire alarm going off. Awkward. Alright, so I'm going to say that's my encounters, and I'm actually going to stop here, because I'm sure y'all can hear that, and that's probably annoying. And I kind of need to figure out what's going on, alright? And goodbye.